Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carrie. I've been wanting to make this video for some time because you guys will see that I've uploaded shorts where it's like my book journal, and I like write about what I like, dislike about the book, give it its own, summary in my own words. I'm not good at that. And I don't have the supplies with me that I had back at home. And even then, they weren't pretty or anything, but, I still wanted to do something like that. And what do you know? My class that deals with gender and fiction has me keep a reading journal. It's called a golden notebook. So I thought, you know what? Perfect. Falls right into place with what I want to do for books and for a creative outlet, but I also get schoolwork done. So let me explain what I do in this notebook regarding my class. So literally it could just be something like this or even like a normal journal, but my professor said, maybe just more of a composition journal. But anything really works if you just kind of want to be creative like this. I have to write about the books that I'm reading in class and make like journal entries about it, but like connected to myself, people in my life, and the world. I'm having a hard time trying to describe this. Let me just show you, Sometimes, depending on the reading, I always start out with like talking about me and how like the reading or the theme of the chapter stood out to me mostly. Basically, I'll just show you like the very first entry I had. So this is from August, and I can't remember what the reading was at this point, but this was just kind of like an intro part to me, and I talk about how, sometimes I don't feel quite as girly, and Taylor Swift helps me kind of find that inner girly that I really want to bring out in me. There's a picture of me that's like my favorite. We got Taylor Swift as a mirror ball because, of course I had to add the lyrics because, sometimes I feel like I have to try so hard to be a girl. So that's what this is about. And my class is about gender and fiction. So we're reading a lot that has to do with gender roles, gender identity, and it's really interesting. So yeah, and I write about gender boundaries. I can't remember what this was for. I think this was for Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. I think that was it. It was like for chapter 1. But you see, I added Snoopy because I said that Snoopy also kind of makes me feel so girly. And I had said, or I had written that someone had told me, like, you like Taylor Swift and Snoopy. You're the girliest girl I know. So I was like, oh my god, thank you. But with that, I just try to be funny, putting in recipes, taking the authors we've read or had to read for class and making them, interact in a way, be funny with it. Obviously talking a lot about women's rights, which I really love. Middle school Carrie would kind of be like, what to what we believe in now. But you grow when you learn, and I think that's something that should be pivotal and normal to say. It's okay to change. Yeah, so now we're in September, and I can't remember what this one was for. Oh, The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. Great book, by the way. Just a very dysfunctional family, if you ask me. Yeah, but no, I like to just go creative with this. I have Taylor Swift lyrics, added something here. I just go to Pinterest or I look up girl or womanhood aesthetic, and I just print out pictures and put them in between my writings, which is what I have been doing, as you've seen from each page, and that's pretty much the basis for this golden notebook. So what I'm going to do is write about Virginia Woolf, A Room of One's Own, for this next entry because we're supposed to read this for tomorrow. Today's Sunday. I have the class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And chapter 3 is supposed to be like the best chapter out of this entire book. It had some really good points, but I'm not going to lie. Chapter 2 is where it's at. So who knows? I may be talking about both. Yeah, you know what? No. I think I'm really gonna focus on chapter 2, but I don't know. There were a lot of good. You know what? No. I'm going to focus on chapter 3 because there was a good quote in here, which I'll explain. That really just, I was like, wow. Because there was a quote in chapter 2 where I was like, I don't know how chapter 3 can be better. And then I read chapter 3 today and I'm like, holy shit, it got better. So I'll explain my thought process and say what I wrote and everything. So yeah, but you're just gonna see me write right now. You know, I'm gonna speed through it, and but then you will see me print out all the pictures I want to add to it and where they go, because I like showing my creative process. Before I start this endeavor, you already know, babe. Oh, so good. Hi everyone, I am back. I wrote, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 pages. I keep forgetting, I don't go off track. I need it to flow. Like in my head, it flows, but like, I don't know if I'm hitting what I need to, being the part about me, others, and the world. It kind of just comes together. I was gonna use the word conglomerate. Is that a word? I have to look that up. I'm going to cut out my pictures and put them in places. Ooh, let me talk about what I wrote. On the first page, I had chosen the quote from page 34 of A Room of One's Own, and it goes like this. Possibly when the professor insisted a little too empathetically upon the inferiority of women, he was concerned not with their inferiority, but with his own superiority. I cannot say inferior. Inferiority. It changes. So with that quote, I said, this gives a lot of toxic masculinity vibes. And like the fact that men need to be superior, not just to women, but men who are not so masculine. And so then I kind of say like, you know, there are men in my life who like make like stay in the kitchen jokes or like this is a man's job, but that they don't like really believe that. So like where does this come from? Like why are these jokes still like a staple that keeps women held back in society? Like why is this part of a man's thinking, even though men don't really think that way, like most of them, you know? And then I said like, you know, maybe it's also like women's fault, like in the sense that like, okay, we want men who are strong, like we want guys with good bodies, that's what I mean. And so that either puts some guys in a depressive state being like, well, I can't lose weight, or, you know, and I'm just hypothetically speaking here, you know, in terms of, you know, men thinking, but like then there are men who are like, okay, I'll get the perfect body, and then they just become so obsessed and consumed with the gym and like keeping their body in good shape that they become toxic in the fact that they need to look good, they need to eat good, and then that is projected onto other people, like men and women, saying, oh well, you need to eat good to look good, like you need to like, this is why like girls don't look at you, this is why men probably don't look at you. Yeah, I almost got up in my soapbox about something. I ain't gonna talk about that. But then I think like, you know, there are these systems in place that have been in place in history for, when did the world technically begin again? When the dinosaurs walked the land, you know? But then I also say like, okay, you know, why can't men cry? You know, and why is that seen as a weakness? But to women, it's like embedded in their DNA, and men expect us to cry like that. You know, I just don't get it. So then my second quote is from chapter 3 on page 49. Any woman born with a great gift in the 16th century would certainly have gone crazed, shot herself, or ended her days in some lonely cottage outside the village, half witch, half wizard, feared and mocked at. So I thought that was such a good quote because it just made me think of kind of tying to the men needing to be superior kind of thing and women being seen as inferior. I make a lot of points here. So why are we told at such a young age, like girls mainly, like so young, that we need a husband? Why are we thinking about that at age 5? That's not the order of which I talked about things, but I'm gonna be honest, I said, men hate women and women hate women. But I talked about a little bit of myself saying, like, at some points in my life, I have gotten so sad thinking, like, I'm gonna die alone because no man would want me. Like, and a part of me is like, how pathetic is that? But then I say, we all want to be loved, but there's just so much hate amongst the genders and the sexes, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to like phrase it as best as I can, but like, why? Why is there so much hate? But then why do we want families? And I'm not saying families are a bad thing, but like, I would like to be married to a very nice, kind, caring man and have children with him, I do want kids, but I also want a career of my own, and that's a whole other thing I've gotten into for another class. I hate when women stay in an unhealthy relationship, but then I call her stupid. We've all had these feelings, and then I say, like, I hate when I talk about having a relationship with a man that equals to me not dying alone. So when I'm like in a relationship with someone, and I'm in one right now, and I have seriously not even thought of this for real, but like in my past relationships, I've always thought like, I'm not gonna die alone. Now I have this relationship, I'm not gonna die alone. That's kind of sad thinking, to think that you need a relationship, like something intimate or marital, to think that you're not gonna die alone. Like I don't know, but you're human. We have these feelings and thoughts, and we spiral from time to time, Okay, yeah, so then I go into talking about how, like, why are little girls told from a young age that they need a husband? Oh yeah, but when they grow up, those men are calling women bitch, the C word, the W word, or easy, and the song I've been listening to on repeat right now, slut. And then the last thing is anything else that diminishes a woman and her identity. And then I also, like, because of that, I go into how women have been depicted as villains and like untrustworthy characters and fables in like history and literature for centuries. In response to that, about those villains and women who are untrustworthy in fables, I have printed out the evil stepmother and the ugly stepsisters, by the way. I didn't want to forget them. I'll get to this one in a second. But then I have the Wicked Witch, and then I have Medusa, who, I've said it before in other videos, I love Greek mythology, and I'm gonna believe witch tales that I want because Medusa is a victim. Just to explain this one, I'm just gonna put it, because I always like to make these a little funny, even when talking about awful structures in society, but this is what I'm talking about, like, why do men cry? Or like, why is men crying a weakness? But, I just thought I'd add that just to be a little funny. Oh, and then I have, like I said, listening to, my opinion, a top vault track for me from 1989 TV, but I specifically printed out the word, or the lyrics, and if they call me a slut, it might be worth it for once. So like women being like, you know what, I'm with him. Other people are calling me a slut for it, I'll take it. Got such a sad, metaphor to it? Not metaphor, but just, you hear that symbolism, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to cut all those pictures out, and then I'll add some of my own little creativity in some spaces that I haven't have pictures for to print, And I'll show like what I mean by that. Good God. Little stepmother has a tiny waist. Okay, queen. I love the Ugly Stepsisters low-key because the one with Anastasia getting her man, that one was so good. Like, Anastasia is so cute. I really don't remember what Drusilla was like, so sorry. Anastasia plays flute? Kind of cool. Like, okay, like, girl, you got talent. But loved how she went with that baker. What a cuffing seasoned man, if you know what I mean. I need a big boy. It's cuffing season and all the girls are needed. Hey y'all, so camera kind of getting a little overheated, so didn't want, to film and then have it black out on me, click shut, say it needs to cool down. So we're going back to the phone and hopefully I can, change it to, change it to 1, whatever the hell that's called, and let you guys see me put all my pictures onto the paper. So yeah. That fits perfectly. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It was Perseus who killed Medusa, right? Yeah, gotta trim Perseus's arm, but that's okay. It does make it more like he's like swinging her head, being like, look what I did. Yeah, Perseus was pretty cool, I guess. Okay, sorry, Lady Jermaine, we gotta cut you off at your slim waist. Yeah. Ooh, we ain't got room for the Wicked Witch. Oh wait, yes we do. I gotta cut. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, got a slot. Oh, doesn't look pretty, but it works. See, now we're gonna have the slut lyrics. Yeah, okay. Now it's just my creativity, my own devices that I need to do. Alright, so here is what I did for this entry of my golden notebook. So, it looks pretty tame starting here, and this is probably the most tamest page. So then over here, not much going on there. I might add a border, I might not though. Maybe I'll add some song lyrics, I don't know. But, about why is it weak and womanly for a man to cry? We have the Boys Who Cry from SpongeBob. Pearl's favorite band. Then, we have onto the next quote. And, I decided to be a little, creative here. Don't worry, all for dramatic effect. I'm okay, just so my professor knows that all of this is supposed to relate to this and like what I'm trying to say. This is where I'm like, it's so stupid and silly to think that I'm going to die. But like I said, it's okay to have those thoughts. We're all human. So then this is where I have Taylor Swift's slut lyrics because of what women get called in society. And then here are the depictions of women that are in myths, stories, fables. And then me saying I'm so tired of it all, kind of going back to that whole like, I'm going to die alone thing. I decided just to go like absolutely insane with the creativity, being like, I'm tired, like why do boys cry? Like, oh, girls cry because they're emotional, And it's just like, I'm tired of all of it. So maybe a little, on a dramatic side, but it was pretty fun to do. It was super fun to do. Oh my goodness, please ignore the mess that is my room. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more of this, please subscribe. If you want to see me talk about books that maybe you like or dislike, I probably have them on my TBR list that has yet to be finished. And who knows, maybe you like the book I'm currently reading right now, which is Legendborn. Have I picked it up since I last talked about it in a video? No, but it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I just have a lot of other reading right now. Still novels, very good. I do add them to my Goodreads, which is linked below if you like to see that. Follow me or whatever. I really still don't know how Goodreads work. I just like to see the progress of percentage I've made through the books and give updates in a silly but also meaningful way. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all have a great day, evening, night, afternoon, wherever you're watching this. Bye.